What's up, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV here. So I was watching DeAndre Bond's interview on Vlad TV. For those of you, many of you may not know who DeAndre Bonds is by name. Like you don't, if you hear his name, you may not know who he is, but you know his face. DeAndre Bonds was Stacy on The Wood. You know, the gangster, big brother that snapped on Big Mike when Big Mike tried to touch on Alicia Booty in the woods. In the Wood, the movie. DeAndre Bonds been in Tales from the Hood, Sunset Park, The Wood, Three Strikes, A Lockdown, and recently the movie Dope, right? So Vlad is interviewing him, and he was asking him about their role that he played in the movie Lockdown. Lockdown was a movie that had Master P in it. It had Richard T. Jones in it. I forgot the other guy's name. But anyway, DeAndre Bonds is a prisoner. He's wrongfully convicted of a murder, him and his two other friends. And he's placed in prison. He's placed in a cell with an Aryan dude. And the Aryan dude rapes him in prison, like repeatedly, right? And it's a scene that's like graphic in the movie too. Like a scene that I ain't really even want to fool with the movie. Just because of that scene like that. It was really graphic. He gets raped in prison. And so Vlad asked him about that. And so he basically, when he was talking about it, he regrets even doing that scene, even doing that part in the movie. He talked about, and you can see the hurt in his eyes from talking about even doing that scene. And that's humiliating for him. Like, he didn't want to do no scene like that. But ultimately, he said the script was the script. And he couldn't change the script. And I think really DeAndre wanted to make his money. He probably come from, rough conditions. He trying to, still make his way in the acting world and increase his resume in the acting world. So he took the role. And he like, man, I don't want to do it. But he still went through with it because, hey, I guess he couldn't break contractual obligations. Right? But when I'm listening to him talk about it, he seems so hurt, he felt violated essentially from even doing that role, even though people could say it's just a movie, it didn't happen in real life. But let me tell y'all something, man. Right? There are certain, if I was an actor, there are certain roles I would never play, and that's just me, right? And the way I hear DeAndre Bonds talking about this role when in Lockdown, when he played somebody's punk in prison. The way he talked about it, I say this, man. Never violate yourself for some dollars. Never let a movie director violate you or make you feel violated or pimped out for some money. If this role goes against your whole moral compass, against your code of ethics, against your integrity as a man, against it goes against your manhood or your spirituality. If it goes against your manhood or your spirituality, do not take part in it at all, because it will have you with some super regrets for a lifetime. And this role is always going to be on film for everybody to see. And as much as he hates to even talk about it and even address that role, or he hates that he did it, it's a part of his filmography. It is. It is what it is. And I know it's a lot of people that come from poverty-stricken conditions, individuals who just trying to make it in Hollywood, who just trying to make it, and they trying to just make their money and provide for their families. But I always say this, man, your integrity, your manhood is worth more than money, because money could ever buy. At the end of the day, you want to be able to look yourself in the mirror and not feel violated or not bend your integrity for anybody just to say, I made this certain amount of money from it, so it's okay. You never want to bend your integrity for some dollars. I look at that man, and that man really he never wanted to do that role. And I always said, I'm like, man, I couldn't be playing this role. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that, man. I couldn't do that. It's morally, and it goes against my manhood and my integrity as a man. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? And it's certain other things that I wouldn't do. I'm not playing no child molester in no movie. I'm not doing that. It's just, I can't go to that level. I don't know. I can't vibe with that. It's not something I identify with at all. I'm not doing that, And also, I always said this too. Me personally, I'm not playing a homosexual man in the movie either. And again, it's nothing against homosexuals at all. You can live the lifestyle you want to live. I'm not the person that's going to be protesting you living your lifestyle. You live the life you want to live. That's your life, I'm not trying to stop you from living your lifestyle. It's just, that's not my lifestyle. And I know in my mind, I would be bending from my moral compass or my integrity. I would be bending from what I feel is. I would be bending from my integrity by taking a role like that. Me even taking a role, putting on dress and makeup and all of that, I wouldn't do that either. That's me bending from my integrity and my manhood. I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? It's just something that I wouldn't do. I'm not clowning anybody else who's done that before. If that's what you chose to do, that's fine. You know, that's you. Certain people have different thresholds for certain things that they wouldn't do. Certain people feel like, hey, it's acting. I can just do this role. Hey, Ving Rhames did it in Holiday Heart. And hey, you know, he went on to play a super hardcore tough dude in the next movie, and people in Baby Boy he played this super hard tough dude. In most of his movies, he's that role. Holiday Heart, he did something different, but people never looked at him differently. But it's not even about people looking at me differently. It's about me personally as a person, me looking at myself differently from taking certain roles. It's just certain things that I wouldn't do. You know, and I always say this too, man. I don't know who watches this channel, if a person is into acting or not. You know, I didn't do no movies or nothing. You know, I did acting in plays in school and stuff like that and all of that. So I'm not no actor by any means. But I'm just saying, to any individual who is thinking about acting, if after you do a role, you're gonna be questioned, like you're gonna just be like, it's gonna eat you up inside. It's gonna hurt you that you did this role. You're gonna feel like, oh, I wish I never did that. Then don't do it. If you gotta second guess it, it's not for you. Read those scripts entirely and determine if that's something that you want to, if you can live with displaying a certain image in your filmography for the rest of your life. If you can live with you displaying this role, playing this role or acting this role forever, then that's fine. But if you can't, don't do it. I look at DeAndre Bonds. DeAndre didn't want no parts of even doing that. But then too, DeAndre took another role in 3 Strikes where it was a movie that was about jokes. It was a comedy. But he even was like got raped in there. Like the big dude came behind him. He had got shot in the butt in that movie. And he was in jail and he had his butt up in the air. Some big dude coming there like he's about to do something to him. And I'm like, I'm not playing that either. It's a comedy, but I'm not, nah, man. Ain't nobody finna act like they finna come violate me in certain, no, I'm not doing them type of, I'm not even joking like that. I'm not playing in a movie with another man violating me like that. I'm not doing it. Even if it's a joke, it's not a joke to me. That's just me personally, you know. And I'm not trying to cast any aspersions on DeAndre Bonds. I think the brother's a good brother. You know, he's been through a lot of troubles in his life. He talked about wanting to be a gangster after he was playing them gangster roles early in his films and going through a lot of trouble. And I'm glad he's out of prison and he's trying to reform himself and, you know, and find work. He got back in the movie Dope, playing a recurring role as Stacy. I thought it was great that he had him in it. They put him in that movie, gave him another acting gig to try to, you know, get himself back on the ground running. I think he's a good brother, but I just think that I think at the time he was just trying to get his money right and trying to build up his resume. And I don't think he thought about the long-term effects of, man, am I really going to want to look at myself play this image in this movie? Like, am I really going to want to do that? And it's like, I don't think he really thought that all the way through. You know what I mean? It was just certain things. I just was like, I don't think he thought that through. And I can tell from looking at him, he didn't want to, like, it really went against who he was as a man to play those roles. Playing somebody's punk in prison, and he in there, like, it's even a scene I think where he's fighting the dude, and dude was trying to get him to, like, perform, like, a sexual act on him. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, that ain't DeAndre. And that's not a role I would play. You know what I mean? It's not a role I would play. Again, there's nothing against anybody who, you know, is homosexual or anything like that. Nothing against anybody that is. But it's not a role I would play. It's not a role for me. I'm a heterosexual man. I'm not taking any roles where I'm acting as if I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm not breaking from my moral compass for anybody. I'm not breaking from my spirituality for anybody. I'm not playing no dude, no devil worshiper or nothing like that in the movie. I'm not doing nothing like that. it's just not that deep to me. You know what I mean? So, and maybe that's why I'm not in acting. I don't know. You know, but I've seen plenty of actors that don't deviate into some strange stuff that are great actors. I've never seen Denzel Washington deviate from doing something just so crazy. I mean, Training Day, he was a crooked cop, but in the movie, he wasn't like it wasn't. I don't think Denzel. I think Denzel can live with himself for playing that role. Had Denzel put on a dress and some makeup or anything like that, or been somebody's punk in prison, I don't think that Denzel would have he would have been able to look at himself the same if he would have did a role like that. You know what I mean? So I think DeAndre was struggling with that. And I think for any aspiring actor or actress, if you're going to play a role, you got to think about how you're going to look at yourself for the rest of your life after you play that role. Are you going to regret playing this role to the point where you hate even watching the film? You know, that's something to think about, man. And I think in life, too, it's a life lesson that although in life we want to have lucrative funds, we want to achieve big things in life. We want to be successful. You never compromise who you are as a person, as a man, talking to the men, or as a woman. You never compromise who you are as a man or a woman for money. Because at the end of the day, you can have all that money and still you can't look at yourself in the mirror right, because you know you did something that went against who you are personally, personally, man. And, I don't think DeAndre wanted to play that role at all. Again, for some people look at that as just acting. It is what it is. But DeAndre didn't want to play that role. He didn't want to play that role. Again, I'm not doing, there's certain things that I'm just not doing. I'm not doing. And that's just me. And anybody else can play certain roles. If you feel like it's nothing against, you're not breaking from your manhood if you wear a dress or nothing like that, that's fine. You feel like you're not breaking from your manhood if you play somebody that's homosexual, or you play somebody's punk in prison. Again, it's not nothing against anybody that's homosexual. You can live the lifestyle you want to live. It's nothing against anybody who what else did I say? No, it is something against somebody who's a pedophile. Like, that's despicable. But if you want to play those roles and say that, okay, I'm acting, I'm just trying to increase my range as an actor, okay, that's your thing. But me personally, I couldn't live with myself playing no child molester, nothing like that. I'm not. That's just me. But yeah, man, never deviate from who you are as a person for financial gain. That's the message of this video. Peace.